So welcome to the first tutorial of Essentials of E-commerce. So the software that we're going to use is Spring Boot. So actually Spring Boot is an open source software based on Java based framework actually, right? So we're going to use Spring Boot to develop microservices. Okay, so you know what is microservices? Microservices are like used to develop and deploy services, independent services. Like it has separate function and it can run separately, right? So those are microservices. So usually microservices are lightweight model, right? That mostly supported business applications. So we're going to build some e-commerce oriented sites. So we're going to study Spring Boot. Okay. So Spring Boot have some several advantages like it's easy to deployment and scalability is simple because we create some beans and it can be extendable, right? And it is compatibility with container based development, right? And configuration for each services is minimum and production time also it's like less. So we'll study Spring Boot projects, and this tutorial is basically on how you can configure and how you can download and install Spring Boot. So this will cover basic functionalities and the components of Spring Boot. Okay. So the first thing you have to download stable version of Spring Boot. Simply you can go with Spring Boot. Okay. So when you go to Spring Boot, you can see the documentation of Spring Boot. So you can go to these projects and Spring Tools. So inside this Spring Tools, I am going to use Eclipse based Spring Tool. It's an open source and free. So you can download for Windows. Right? So they have 4.15.3. Okay. Or else you can use Visual Studio Code. Okay. So you can simply download and install this along with Visual Studio and you can develop, no issues. Okay. But I am going to use the uh, open Eclipse version. Okay. So, so simply you can download this. Okay. So it will take some time. Okay. So already I downloaded this. Okay. So after this, you will get a zip file. Okay. So when you download this, you will get a zip file or .java file. Simply, it's an executable file. So when you double click it, you will get all the components. Okay. So already I have Spring Boot, so I'll use the older version. Okay. So here it is. So when you extract that file, you will get these components. So you can start the project by simply open this. Okay, Spring Tools time to do. Okay. So the things you need to know is workspace. So workspace is the place where you're going to build the projects. Okay. So for example, I'm going to create the very first. Okay. So inside this folder, I'm going to create. Okay. So this, and I'll create new folder. Okay. Projects. Okay. So I choose my workspace called Spring Projects. Okay. So before we begin or set these environmental variables, we need some additional component called Apache Maven because these all projects are built overlay of Apache Maven. So just download that and install it first. So here you can see there are several mediums of download this Apache Maven. So usually what we're going to do is we're going to download the zip version. Okay, so that will help you. So this one, simply click on that link. It will take less amount of time and it's like 10 Mbps. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I just cut this. So here I have this HTML files. Okay, so this is my path. Okay, so copy this path, and I'm going to add environmental variables. So here you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new to home, and the variable values the path. Okay, that's okay. Then second one, one and the path. Okay, now you have these two. Okay, environmental variables, and also you need to add that path to the system variable, right? So here the path. Okay, and you can edit this, new, and the path. That's it. So it's added. Yeah, so it's added now. Okay. So you currently added the path for Apache Maven. Okay, so simply press OK. So now we configure that Apache Maven. Okay, and we downloaded that Spring Tool Soup. It's an open source. Okay, open source tool also. Okay, so let's see how we can create this. So how you can start a new project. So let's speak. Okay. So simply you have to create new Spring Starter project, not a Java project. Okay, so you have to press this create new Spring Starter project. Okay. So when you open this, it asks you to select which version of Java you are going to use, and make sure that the type of a project is Maven, and you can customize the name. So I just leave as it is as a demo. Okay, then the Java version is here. So how you can check the Java version is simply go to your command prompt, Java version. Simply you can provide this command Java version, and you can find the Java version. So it's Java version 18. So just change the Java version into 18 because it's 17. So Java version 18. So this is such an important part you need to cover. Right? So you have to provide necessary dependencies from this. Okay, so you need to download necessary dependencies and import into your project. Okay. Okay, so we're going to build web-based one. Okay, so I'm going to import Spring Web. Okay, and that's enough up to now to check the demo project. So simply I'm going to install Spring Web and start the project. Okay, so Spring, you can just hover on Spring Web and you can see this includes RESTful applications, Spring MVC. So we're going to apply MVC concept here. So this dependency is more useful when you start RESTful applications and MVC concept. So simply press finish. So wait until that project get downloaded. Okay. So initial components will download it. Just you can click this progress window and see the progress it's getting downloaded. Okay, now you can see it's completely done. You can explore the packages, okay, by simply press on this project, and you can see it all get downloaded. Sometimes if you didn't see these files are not downloaded, simply right click on this project and you can go to Maven. Okay, just go to Maven and update project. Okay, press on this update project and check this. Simply press this force update snapshots or release. Simply click this force update and press OK. If your files are not downloaded properly, right? If you face any issues, if you face any problems under this panel, just simply click this force update. Okay, so it will download your necessary files. Okay, so you currently you downloaded all the basic files including the dependencies. Okay, so you need to know some files. When I say just go to that form file or just click on the dependencies. Okay, just click on these dependencies. You can see this Spring Boot web is installed, right? So you can see Spring Web dependencies installed, or else you can explore this POM file. Just simply click this. So when you open this POM file, you can see what are the dependencies are installed. So you can see here Spring Boot starter web, right? So if you want to add the dependency manually, you can go to Spring Boot dependencies and you can add that dependency by edit this POM file. That also possible, right? If you didn't start the project or if you missing some dependencies, you can directly add this file. Actually it's a project manager file, right? So POM file, so you can add a dependency into this POM file directly. Okay, so you can edit this POM file and add dependencies. So currently you have all the dependencies and you can create some very basic project. So we'll see the components like beans, annotation and everything while we creating the projects. Okay. So let me close this. So, so you need to know where you have to create the project file. Okay. So you can see here this source main Java, right? So this is the folder you're going to work with. So simply just click this. Inside this package, you can see demo application file, right? So it provides you the demo application, right? So this will be executed when you run this project. Okay, so it comes with the main method. Okay, so you studied Java, so you know what's this file. Okay, so this will be the primary file, right? So it contains with the main method. Okay, so when you run the project, this page or this file will be executed. Okay, so when you add new files, you will create files inside these packages com.example.demo. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new class file in the inside this package. Okay, so you can simply right click on this and press new. Okay, new class file. So window will be pop up and you can provide a name. Okay, so I'm going to create a simple controller, right? So I will name it simple control. So I created a file called simple controller. So inside this simple controller, we're going to create our very basic project. So you all know that each and every languages when you start, the thing that we do is print hello world. So the same thing we're going to apply here as well. Okay, so we're going to print hello world and check that uh, how this Apache server and our Spring framework is communicating. Okay, so what I'm going to do initially, make this class as a controller, right? So you know that in social media, when you tag some people, you use at, right? So when you press at, and it shows that to tag some people. So usually in social media, we tag people to let them know, right? You are tagged into this post. Such a way, you use this at sign to annotate. So annotations are used to tell that it takes that property. Okay, so it takes that property. So I'm going to make this class as a bus controller. You can apply property to each and every components inside this class. So I'm going to make this whole class as a bus controller. So there is so many annotations are here, but we'll study very basic annotations. Okay, so I added the REST controller, right? So when you add a controller, it shows the warning sign. So you need to import proper annotation for that. Okay. Okay. So now you can see import REST controller. So it auto suggests you uh, when you face errors. Okay, so you have to import this. Okay. Then I'm telling that the second annotation I'm going to use request mapping. Okay. So request mapping is used to map your executions, right? So each and every executions when you do in localhost, you need to tell that what URL or what tags you're going to use. Okay, so inside this you can name what tagging you're going to use. So simply I'm going to use slash. Okay, so actually backslash. Okay, so when you map this, and you can write a simple method called public string. So I'm going to name it as index. Inside this, telling that return word. This is what I'm going to do. So when you see the errors, you can simply fix those errors by click this. Okay, request mapping. I'm going to add request mapping. What's this? Okay, so now we have the basic public string index, and we return this hello. Okay, so let's run this. Uh, there are several ways to run this project. So simply you can run simple controller this play button. Okay, so when you press play button, you go to this demo application. So it says how to run this project as. So simply go to run as Spring Boot. So it gets started and it's running on port 8080. Okay, so you can go here, localhost. You have to mention the port 8080. So now you can see the output. Hello world. Okay, so if you get an output such a way, then your Spring is working properly. Okay, so now we have a simple controller and return a method and print hello world. Okay, and it's working. Okay, so this is what we do, that we did today. Okay, so next thing you need to know, there is an annotation called bean. Okay, so you can create bean. So let's see how we can create a bean inside this demo application. Okay, what's the use of that bean? Okay, so just inside this main method we're going to create a bean. Okay, so I'll tell you what is a bean is later. So let's annotate bean, and what I'm going to do is inside a command line runner I will create a new method called command runner. Okay, and I pass arguments application x x. So like this we're going to return some arguments. Okay, and it maps to system dot. So these are the usage of when you use editors. Okay, let's okay, this is what we're going to do. then within the names, I think we fix this bean first. The names. X dot. Actually, you don't have to type all this. Annotate when you annotate this B and fix those. Okay. So now you annotate that bean. Okay. We'll hard code it earlier, then we can fix those. Okay, ctx get bean beans definition names. Okay. So you don't have to worry about this, but it's for the testing purpose, right? So name. Okay. So everything I just did is to explain what is bean. Okay, so don't bother about it, about this code and everything, just to explain how this bean is working. Okay, so let's run this project again and see the purpose of bean. Okay, so usually when there is a project is running, just stop that and run it to relaunch that project. Okay, so you can simply press stop and rerun, or you can press relaunch demo. Okay, so you can stop and relaunch, or else it takes the previous build and run again. Okay. So its run is now it's running this project. Here you can see it's in command line, right? So to inspect the beans, you can check that in command line. So that's what we did. Okay, so let inspect it. Okay, just running under command line runner. So that's the name of a bean. Okay, so you input a command line runner inside this primary application, and that's the name of this bean. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you is I'll give you an activity to find some annotations, okay, and write the purpose of it. Okay, so what's the purpose of using Spring Boot application, bean annotation, and when you go to controller, you can see a REST control annotation, request mapping, right? So likewise, there are so many annotations. So I'm asking you to find out what is annotation is, what is bean is. Okay, so that's your activity. Okay. So if you run and get such an outputs, you are done to go with creating web application. So these are just for the understanding. When I say what is annotation, the dependencies, the command line, how to view your output. So these are the outcomes that I am expecting from you. Okay, so you get an outcome here. Okay, and that bean is run between your Apache server and the Spring framework. Okay, so that's why it's printed on command line. Okay, usually the console, but it doesn't affect the output. Okay, so that's all for the very first tutorial. Okay, so let's see on next tutorial how to build the very basic web application like CRUD applications using Spring Boot.